Hey y'all, Punk Rock Parkinson's here. So I just wanted to continue my story a little bit. Told y'all about how I got diagnosed with Parkinson's and that process. And now I'll kind of tell you my story between that and ultimately deciding to get DBS. And then after that, I'll probably talk about DBS, the process, the surgery, that kind of stuff. This is a pretty interesting process and pretty cool surgery. But anyway, I told y'all I went straight on carbidopa levodopa because that was, like I said, I wanted to continue working. That had the best effect on me and helped all my symptoms. Well, I was having to increase my pill intake about every 3 months is when it seemed to wear off its effectiveness, not last as long, or sometimes not kick in at all, that kind of stuff. And so I was still seeing the neurologist that had diagnosed me, and she told me when she diagnosed me that Parkinson's wasn't her specialty, and that once she felt, and that I felt, that we had reached our limits in our Parkinson's relationship and care, that I could change neurologists. And so anyway, at that time I was part of a support group. I was helped running at a Parkinson's support group, and gained a lot of tremendous knowledge from that and being a part of that. And this doctor, neurologist, came in, and the support group was probably 95% older Parkinson's people, meaning people that got diagnosed, 60 plus up, older people. And a lot of them were seeing this doctor. And so I decided I would go and see this doctor because I felt I was at the time to move on. Well, in the meantime, my original neurologist had prescribed entacapone, or I think that's what it's called. It's hard to say. It's weird spelling, entacapone. Anyway, so I got on that because it was supposed to be a slower release, last longer with different dosages. And so I went ahead and switched over to that. Well, I had started becoming, it kind of did the same thing. I was having to increase every 3 months as my Parkinson's was progressing, and I was also starting to experience pretty good dyskinesia. And so I was just frustrated, very frustrated. And so anyway, I went and saw this doctor. Well, that was probably the biggest mistake of my Parkinson's journey. This doctor was a complete asshole, complete douchebag. I went in there with dyskinesia, pretty heavy dyskinesia. And, he had me do the walking and the finger tapping and the foot tapping and all that business. So once I did all that, and he told me, I don't think you have Parkinson's disease. And I was like, oh, really? And he goes, have you ever experienced any kind of trauma in your life? I was like, well, no. I mean, other than my dad passing away in a motorcycle accident, I've really had a pretty good life. I really can't complain overall and stuff. And he proceeded to say, well, I think your problem is here, not here. And it was all I could do not to cry, honestly, in the doctor's appointment. I told him that, and he mentioned about a referral to another doctor in Houston and stuff, and I said, yes, I would like that, because I want another opinion. So he referred me. I got an appointment with that doctor. Me and my wife drove over to Houston. It was about a 2.5 hour drive. And this doctor proceeded to take me through all the tests and stuff. And he said, you absolutely have Parkinson's disease. There's no question about it. I mean, I brought all my medical records. I brought the CD with my DAT scan on it, all that kind of stuff. And he said, here's the issue with going to, and this guy was a movement disorder specialist, and I absolutely loved him. Wish I could remember his name. But anyway, he said the problem with seeing regular neurologists, he said, I'm not knocking them, but as a movement disorder specialist, and specializing in Parkinson's disease, I have more training and can identify things better. And he said, also, you can't put Parkinson's disease in a box. He said, particularly young onset. He said, with a 65-year-old person that comes in and presents with symptoms, I can almost map out their progression and where they're going to go and how many years and that kind of stuff. He goes, with young onset, it's very different with every individual. And he said, so you don't just throw it in a box and treat it the same way. You treat it very differently. And that opened my eyes a lot. I learned a lot through him. Well, I then I was going to continue seeing him, but it was a 2.5 hour drive. Me and my wife would have to take days off of work, blah, blah, blah. So I talked to some friends, and they got me in with my MDS that I see now, Dr. Ramirez in San Antonio. And best thing that's ever happened to me. I still see him. He's wonderful. He's amazing. And at that time, Rytari had come out, and so we started on Rytari because, again, so many different milligrams of those pills that you can really play with the milligrams that you take of carbidopa, levodopa, and so that worked well for me for a pretty decent time. I was glad to get off that entacapone or whatever, because my dyskinesias had gone away for the most part. But then I began having problems with Rytari. Same thing, wearing off too soon, not working at all, or just getting this dopamine dump and having major dyskinesias and that kind of stuff. And that was in 6 years ago. So early 2019 is where I was at this point. Early 2019. And so anyway, irregardless, one thing I would, and I'll continue my story after that on another video, but one thing I really want to stress is if you can change from a neurologist who's treating your Parkinson's and get in to see a movement disorder specialist who has spent extra time studying movement disorders such as Parkinson's and those things, please switch to a movement disorder specialist or MDS. My change in care was a total U-turn and went so much better. And so that's what I want people to get out of this video, along with my story. Anyway, I'm about 8.5 minutes in, so you're probably bored. I hope you stuck with me. If you did, please give me a like or whatever it is, the heart, follow, share this with family and friends so they can hopefully understand what we go through and what we're dealing with. And anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll be back again, and we'll continue with part 3, I guess. Punk Rock Parkinson's out. Rock on, people. Live your best life now.